Hello, everyone. You know who it is. It's Chris and Super Frankie. What's going on?
Super Frankie and Chris O, baby.
What's going on? You're in St. Clair and Dufferin.
I'm on St. Clair and Dufresne. Thanks for taking the call. Yesterday was a little busy, but I'm actually just popping in on my mom's shop. She has a flower shop on St. Clair. St. Clair in Toronto is traditionally was known as a very Italian neighborhood. Now it's definitely changing up. So this is Verdi Florist.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
My mom's shop right there.
That's awesome.
And my parents are in there, so I'm excited to be on the call with you today. I know yesterday I got tied up on some meetings, but you were able to chat with the Honorable
David Tsubouchi.
David Tsubouchi. So how did that go?
Very good. We chatted a bit about his book. We chatted about it's called oh, I'll remember the name after. Anyways, it'll be in the thing that you guys are all going to get to see after or listen to after, whether you're watching or listening. We're going to play the interview after Frank and I chat a bit. And we chatted about his networking book, where he's got like a bunch of different business people came and did chapters in the book. So it's not just
Wow.
him; it's a whole whack of different business people from different industries came and gave networking advice in the book. Wrote a bunch of different chapters. So that's really cool.
He's quite
Um,
incredible. I mean, I just met him on LinkedIn and I didn't really know him that well. And I was reading through his resume and I was like, wow, he's incredible. And,
yes.
I think he really likes what I similar like to do is network. And I think it's
Yes.
important. And he's really strong in that. So I think that it's funny. You almost build these funny networks on LinkedIn with people that you don't even know,
Yeah.
but because you both, each person likes to network, they start to get to know each other, even though
Yes.
they've never talked, because they know that how important networking is, and so I see LinkedIn as a very powerful tool when it comes to networking.
100% it is. 100%. We were chatting a bit too about how one of the things he gets asked the most from when he does lectures at universities is how do I network? How do I become successful like you? That's what the students are asking. And that's where the idea to put out this networking book to show people how to network more, why it's important. You know, a lot of us, we learned it easily because we had to, because the only way to make friends was to go out and talk to people. The only way to make
Yeah,
friends was to go out and do things. Now, with all the social media with these kids, and all of them are, a lot of their contact is through phones, they're not learning some of the raw skills that we all learned growing up, right? So
yes.
so a lot of the book discusses some of those stories that these people grew and how they grew to be successful and how they grew their networks. So that's cool. We also talked about he was the first Japanese Canadian to ever sit in a government legislature in Canada.
Wow.
Yeah, so we talked about that. That was pretty cool, and a bunch of other little things like about his life and some stories he told.
So I know another great Japanese Canadian. He was worked for McCarthy Tetrol, Gord Sato. He was a very
Yes.
cute, big lawyer, and he's a friend of. He was a father of one of my brother's best friends, and I'd love to have him on because he was a real estate lawyer, very instrumental when it came to building the city of Toronto.
Yep.
And uh, uh, Mr. Chibuchi, when it comes to networking, I think that's a particular area where I'm very strong because I was always very social,
Yes.
and I've used social media as another form of doing it. And
Yep.
but what I think is happening actually is so people are so tired of social media and being bombarded on their phones and being bombarded that the old school skills are actually what's going to come back again. And I think we
Yes.
really need to teach that. We really need to teach people to get
Yes.
together again. And I think that's one of the reasons that Italians, Greeks, some of these Mediterranean cultures that know how to get together, know how to
Yep.
get to city squares, know how to sit in coffee shops, and know how to talk. Have become successful, certainly in Toronto, because they know how to have the conversation going. Some people come into the office and they say, well, I don't know how to be social, and I think that's so important when it
Yes.
comes to business. And
Yes.
if you really want to, and create your own little networks. If they're,
Mhm.
I saw this great little, TikTok this morning of a university teacher, very high level university teacher. I think he's from Harvard, doing these like master classes in bars for people who don't want to go drink, but they want to watch a master class in a
Yes.
cozy bar with real people. So I thought that was quite interesting. And
Yeah.
I love the idea that he's got a book on networking, building their business. I'd love to read it actually. So I hope he sends us a copy. Is he
We
going to
got
try
it.
to? We got
Just
it.
we got it. Just check your
Okay.
email. We got it. He sent us a copy. It's a PDF copy, but he sent us a copy.
That's great.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I'm going to read it.
Me too. I started reading it before I chatted. And I was like, oh, this is good. Like it was good. I was like, I'm gonna keep going and read a little bit every day now. So I like it.
And it's different. And you're saying it's different business people in each chapter. That's great.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's
Perfect.
great. It's a lot of different people, different walks of life, different backgrounds, different cultures, ethnicities, and yeah, everybody coming together to do this kind of this project that I think he really wants it so that students can read it and be like, I mean, anybody can read it and learn, but he really wants students to get an idea of what it takes, right? Because, like you just said, it's got to come back to where we're getting together, we're being in person, we're shaking hands, we're sharing stories, right? So,
I love that part. I mean, last night I went out to Hamilton because a friend of mine said, "Oh, Frank, I've got Robbie from the Trailer Park Boys. He's going to be in Hamilton." A friend of mine said this, so I said, "Well, I've got a friend who owns a restaurant in Hamilton, so let's just meet in Hamilton." So we
yeah,
kind of put everybody together. We had this nice, fun dinner, and that's all it was for. It's a pain to get to Hamilton, and a lot of people say, "Well, why would I go there to meet some guy?" But I feel the opposite. I'm like, well, I can't wait to go, even if I go for an hour to meet some guy
yeah,
and have a quick laugh and chat about the Trailer Park Boys or why you did it and how you write it, and he has a laugh. He gets to see something different.
yeah,
We're all human, and I think that I love the human part of the networking, and even if business doesn't come out of it, sometimes it's just nice to meet someone new. I really enjoy
100%.
meeting new people, and I think you have to trigger your mind and change your mindset to be like, okay, I may not get something out of this, but they might, or
Yes.
or you have to be like, it could be fun. It could be someone that I'm not expecting to like, and you end up liking them. So I think that's the trick, right?
Yes, 100%, 100%. You're right, and I love that. We need to get him on the show.
Yeah, no,
Definitely.
definitely. No, 100%. No, I was actually thinking that this morning. So I didn't take his number down, but he's here all week. And as a matter of fact, he may come into town tonight. And I know some guys are dying to go to the obviously the World Series game. I've got tickets to the Raptors game, and so
Nice.
I'm trying to figure out how to get to the Raptors and the World Series game, and I had a bunch of people. So that's kind of my dilemma. It's a good dilemma to have, but
Yes. Yes, that is a very good dilemma to have. I
yeah,
love. I know a couple people going to check out the Raptors home opener, so that'll be good.
yeah.
And I'm sure I know people going to the World Series. I knew like 100 people at that game 7. It was driving me crazy. I was like, no one called me.
Yeah, no, it's a tough one. Listen, I think I snuck my way in through somebody. So it's like, everybody thinks it's not so easy. You got to really be bugging people. No one wants to pay the 3 grand or 5 grand, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, no, I know that game 7. I knew people who had bought tickets before the series started, so they got them for like a few $100, like 500
Yeah,
bucks or something, right? Which, hey, that's a good price, right? And so,
yeah,
but I was laughing because I was like, time I turned around, I'm like, why are all these people at this game and no one called me?
yeah, I know. Because they snuck in the last minute somehow, right? You know?
I know, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. It's good. It's
Yeah,
just so
trust me. I
funny.
I I had like 5 people come, hey, why did you call me? I was like, it's not that easy. I
No,
had
it's
to
not.
figure out a way to get in myself,
Yeah,
like,
100%. No, no, it's
yeah.
not that easy. I'm just teasing. I'm like, good for everyone. I was so happy to see everybody there. I
Yeah.
couldn't go anyways. I had to take my daughter to soccer practice and back home, so it was fine. I wasn't
No,
able
but
to
but
go.
it's funny you say that because I was in a conversation with a guy yesterday who came with me and he got a call from his buddy who's like, hey, I need a favor from you. He's like, and my friend just hung up on the guy. He said, how am I supposed to get you in? Like, I can barely get
Yeah, get
myself
me in.
in.
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah,
It's
yeah.
true.
I
It's
know.
true.
Listen, I'm known for asking, so everybody gets mad at me. But I'm a salesman, so I got to keep asking. Otherwise, the business doesn't work.
No, it's true. And you know what? I was happy for everyone that got to go. Legitimately, I was not able to go
Yeah,
because my duties as a dad come before any my own personal
of
things.
course.
And so I was so happy. So I just teased everybody about it. Like everyone I know I've teased about it already once.
Oh, what
But
a game!
what a game. I had to listen to it on the radio, Frank, because we were in the car
Oh,
driving home.
what a game!
That's a great. I said I wrote a column about it for my blog about it was actually really cool listening and yelling and cheering the Jays on in the car
I've done that.
because it
I've
was
done that. Listen to a
old
game in the
school,
car. It's great. Yeah, it's old
right?
school.
Right?
No one
And
listens to the radio anymore. It's great. It's a great way to listen.
100%. And
Yeah.
so I wrote a column about listening in the car and Juliet next to me and everything. So it was like yeah. Anyways,
I
I'm
remember
so
when I was a
excited.
kid, I drove from Toronto to Los Angeles, and I was going from about Chicago to Denver, and it was a Sunday.
Yeah,
And I listened to three NFL games straight,
yeah,
one after the other on the radio from the drive from Chicago to Denver, and it was a Sunday. And I remember how interesting it was. And I was just like, it really made the time go by.
yeah,
I'll never forget that drive, and I'll always cherish it. It was funny. I knew what down they were at,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it was pretty amazing. So it was pretty. I'll never forget that. I was reminded of that moment.
That's very cool. That's very cool. So, but everyone, if there's no game on, you listen to our podcast.
Exactly. So what do we say? Go Jays, go! I think we did our 10 minutes. This is before the honorable Tsubouchi for this month. Are we done?
Yeah, so yeah, we're good. We say go Jays go. On the SFD Saturday morning, my column is about my Chris's corner is about the Jays and the Magic and bringing Canada and Canadians together. So people can read
I
that and
can't
check
wait
out
to
all
read
the
it
other
because
good
I
stuff.
haven't read it, so I'm going to read it right now.
There you go. And then everyone listening, right now we're going to go into the interview I did on Thursday with the Honorable David Tsubouchi, and check it out right now. We're going there. We'll say bye to Super Frankie. We'll say bye to me even because I'm going to bring that. I'm going to
Hi,
edit that
Chris.
in. And
And
we're going to
Chris, I
rock
want
and
to say
roll.
thank you very, very much on behalf of everybody for putting this podcast together. I
My
know it's
pleasure.
work and it's a lot of fun for me, and I hope we continue to do it. I think there's one thing we should do is kind of come up with that system. You know how TikTok does it, where he kind of cuts to
Yes.
us, whoever's talking at the time. If we
Yes.
come up with, we got to find an app that does that for us, because then we can start
Yes.
posting it on the TikToks and all that.
Yep.
And I'll ask Dimitri if he knows of a good one,
Yep.
or ask Dimitri, maybe he
You know
knows of a good
what?
one.
I think I can do that in my settings,
Okay,
but I have to do it before we start.
but you know what? And then after with the cuts, because I don't know if you know, once I had Maya do all these cuts for me of a like an interview someone did with me. So the AI just cut it up into little bits, and
Yes.
then we started posting it on TikTok and some of the others, and it got a ton of viewership. So it's as if the AI knows what people may like to hear. So
Okay.
keep that in mind. So ask Dimitri or Maya what they did,
Okay.
and it's an easy way to post.
Okay.
And then it
Awesome.
really it really got a lot of views on YouTube, I noticed. Like it's
Yes.
funny, some things work really well on different platforms. It's like, you'll get 20,000 views. Like recently on one photo I got on Instagram, 20,000 views,
Yeah.
and on TikTok you got zero, and it's like
Yeah.
funny. You never know where it's going to hit or what time of day.
Yes.
So I think you should just post it kind of everywhere, because I'm getting a lot of people saying, "Hey, I'm really enjoying the podcast now as well. I'm loving hearing the podcast." So
Awesome.
yeah,
Awesome.
I'm hearing that. So that's great.
That is great. I'm glad people are listening. Tell their friends.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Because we have a lot to say.
Exactly. That's awesome. All right. Well, we'll say bye. And everyone, keep listening. Check out the interview with the Honorable David Savucci. Fantastic gentleman. And
You know what, Chris? I got to figure out a way to get us on the radio. I'm going to talk to one of the 3.5, give us a half an hour segment each week. That's
okay,
what I need to do. Let me work
there
on
you
that,
go.
buddy.
There you go. That's next. Look at Frankie. And tell them to give us a cut of their ad sales.
I agree. I agree. I agree.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we'll talk to you next week. We've got an actor coming on.
Love it. Surprise, surprise.
There we go. All right,
Cheers.
everybody.
Ciao,
Ciao.
Chris.
Ciao.
Bye.
But our guest is here, our super guest, the Honorable David Tsubouchi. Did I pronounce that correctly, David? Sorry.
Pretty good.
Pretty good, Tsubouchi. And so if you don't know who David is, this gentleman has served us on as an elected official. He has written books. He has been a lawyer. You were the first Japanese Canadian elected to parliament. Is that correct?
I'm the first Japanese Canadian elected to a legislature in Canada,
Oh, legislature.
the first cabinet minister, and the first person elected a municipal council in Ontario.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
amazing. And that was in Markham, the municipal council, I believe.
that's right.
Was
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
so, so I ran for council here in Muskoka. I live in Muskoka. I'm from Toronto, but I live in
Okay.
Muskoka.
Yeah, yeah.
And I ran for council last municipal council. I didn't get in, obviously, but I did
Well,
run. So
well, that's happens sometimes when you suffer from temporary mental lapse when you do stuff like that. I mean, look, it's a hard job to do today with social media. I mean,
yes,
I don't think I could do it today, and I give credit to anybody who runs here in Canada for
yeah,
anything because you're doing it for the reason of doing some of the benefit of your community and for the people.
yes,
And it's very different than down south. We're like, like you look at the Americans, everyone
yes.
goes into the Congress, goes in and comes out a multimillionaire. That happens to nobody in Canada.
It's true.
Nobody. I guarantee you it doesn't. And people get into politics up here for all the right reasons, I believe.
Mhm.
Now, on the
I
other
think so.
hand, sometimes I kind of like term limitations because sometimes you get too cozy in there. So I think maybe a few terms and maybe out.
Yeah,
But because you need to have fresh ideas all the time,
I agree.
and it's difficult, and you have to have people who have a fire in their belly to do that job.
Yes.
And like I said, I give credit to anyone who stands for election today. It's a very difficult thing with social media.
My just speaking of that, and one of the interesting things, and I loved how you put it that there should be the term limits where people maybe a couple to bring in the fresh ideas. One of my good friends, Mitchie, she sat on a municipal council north of here for a couple terms and then stepped down. She had a great idea. She said, "I believe everyone in Canada, it should be you draw their name." Almost like jury duty, right? Now they can decline or accept the nomination to sit on whether it's municipal council, provincial, or the at Queen's Park or in Ottawa, right? Um, and she had this idea that everyone serves one term if they want, right? And then your rep, and it's like no matter what part of the spectrum they're from in Canada, and they get to represent all these different ideas and different people like every 4 years, or she said you could even do every 8 years, and so that they could accomplish some goals. And then she said, and then you turn it over. And I was like, I wonder, like, I always thought that's an interesting concept. I don't know how you'd implement it, but what are your thoughts on something like that?
Well, if you want mass chaos, it's probably it's an idea. But see, here's the problem. People don't have to have any qualifications to sit on councils or school boards or
True.
parliament or the legislature.
Yes.
And the problem is I because I do instruct at the Directors College at McMaster on governance, and there's not a real understanding of what governance is.
Gotcha.
And the good news is I've seen at the Directors College is I've seen more and more municipal officials taking that course, which is a good idea to do in understanding what their fiduciary duty is and all these other
Yes.
things. And look at municipal council. That job is 75% real estate development work,
Yes.
about another 20% financial, and
Yes.
5% everything else. And so you get someone who comes in who doesn't understand, like you're dealing with millions of dollars in a budget,
100%. Yeah.
and you would think that you'd have to have some background in finance
Yeah.
and also in development as well. So I think maybe, and there are a lot of institutions now that are giving sort of courses on these things.
Mhm.
And if I saw someone who took a course on that to better themselves, and understanding real estate development before they got elected to council.
Yes.
I thought, well, that would be a good thing for someone to have, and I would certainly vote for them. The other thing too is I served a couple of municipalities as the integrity commissioner.
Yes.
So I used to do rulings on codes of conduct. And again, people have to understand the whole integrity stuff and what their purpose is and conflicts of interest, and I don't think there's a great understanding of that as well. So, and these are things that are just to me basic things you need to know before
Yes.
you step into that role.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're influenced by whoever talks to you if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's actually a good point. I like that idea where I think even if after you get elected, you can learn these things.
Yeah, listen, I'm with you. I mean, look at your life is really a lifetime of learning, or should be.
Yes.
Like, I still take probably 25, 30 hours of educational courses still.
Yeah.
Well, I like learning, so that's not a problem for me. But it's like a lot of the stuff. For example, on one of the boards I'm on, technology reports to me,
Yes.
and I'm just a lawyer. So with AI these days, I have to understand not at the level of someone who is a specialist in technology or AI, but
Yes.
I have to understand at a level where we're making decisions about these things, what they're talking about.
Yes.
And so I've taken probably over the last couple of years, 20, 25 hours on AI education.
Yeah.
But you know what? I write science fiction books, so it's good research for that too. So
It's
there you go.
true. It's true. And I love what you said because I try to, like this year, early in the year, I took a couple courses just to upgrade some of my skills. Even in my own craft, I took a mastery of editing course just to upgrade and keep on top of my skills as a writer and as a journalist and well, I do more marketing writing now than journalism, but I do still dabble.
Yeah.
And I love what you say. Just keep doing. I actually have been doing a little bit of trial and error with the AI programs. But what you just said about taking a course, that actually got put on my to-do list. I was like, I should take a beginner's course in AI to understand it better because you don't know what's coming in the future
Exactly. Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
understand better. And I think that was great that you mentioned that.
Yeah. I mean, I started thinking about themes for a sci-fi book on AI.
Yeah.
And most of the books I've seen so far, and going back to the very past as well, are kind of
Yeah.
like the Terminator kind of result, where
Yes.
AI takes over on their evil thing. But as we look through these things, I mean, you have to make sure you get the right, safety rails there, guardrails when you're looking
Yes.
at these things, and the right intervention of human intervention on these things. But
Yes.
we need to look at the benefit as well.
Yeah.
What could I do to benefit to us as well? So, no one's really looked at it from the perspective of the benefits.
It's true.
Most people look at it from, what are the negative things that happen? You got the Terminator thing, or you got, Ray Bradbury's Illustrated Man, where the future human beings are just idlers who do nothing, and
Yes.
all well,
Yes.
But on the other hand, think about this. Um, I looked at some research lately, and they said as a human population in the world, we've gotten kind of dumber in the last few years.
That's
And you think
100%
about
true.
it, like 20 years ago, you had the top 20 phone numbers in your head.
Yes. I
If you
still
wanted to get,
remember numbers from when I was a kid that I
well,
used my from my parents' work. I rhymed one off the other day. I was like,
yeah, yeah,
remember that cafe you had, Dad, on College Street? Yeah.
yeah.
Um, and then I'm like, it wasn't the number 4165 when I went on and he's like, how did you remember that? That's just
That's tricks you do, because I remember when we first got postal codes, right?
yes.
And at that time, I was living in Scarborough. And I thought, well, here's how I remember my postal code. Michael One Singer and Jackson 5.
Oh, nice,
That
nice.
was my postal code, right? And so
I
we
love
think
that.
about these things, make these associations. That's what keeps us sharp.
Yes.
I think about, the GPS systems. Before we had to look at maps to understand where
Yes.
we're going and
Yes.
understand these things. And this spelling, grammar,
Yes.
or even any simple arithmetic in your head. I mean, I
Yes.
went to the store the other day and I think what it was, the price was, I don't know, um, $5 and I don't know, it's $6 and 25 cents.
Yes.
So I gave the person $10 bill and 25 cents.
Yeah.
Then I went change. And they had no idea what to do with this until they went to the cash. And so, I mean, these are simple things that I think continually keep us sharp.
They
I
do.
mean, I mean, that's how I taught my grandson as we're growing up, and we
Yep.
play Monopoly, right?
Yep.
He was always the banker. You land on Tennessee, it's $18. I give him $50 bill. He's got to do in his head. He's
Yep.
6 years old. He's making all these calculations in his head,
Yes.
and that's how. Well, now, I mean, he just graduated. He's a aerospace engineer, so obviously he
Amazing.
understands mathematics.
Congrats to him. Amazing.
Yeah,
Congrats
yeah.
to you for helping him get there.
Well, he got most of those skills through his grandmother, not me. I'm just a lawyer.
But you know what? You're right though, and I think one of the things about AI, and I think it could be cool in your book, is it's a tool, right? I find that if we use it as a tool to help with certain things, and you know, it doesn't need to do everything for us, because I think as long as we're keeping our brains sharp, one of the things we insist with our kids is reading, 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 more reading, and actual books. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
That keeps your brain sharp. That feeds your brain good stuff. Um, my kids, sometimes they get mad because they've got all these different things they try to teach them this new math. But they're like, but I can get to the answer just by in my head because I know what the answer is because I figured it out. But then if I don't show them that I did it their way, it's wrong. And I'm like, I know. But because we taught them just to do math, like just
But you
do it.
see, I mean, years ago, when my kids were very young, that's a
Yeah.
long time ago, and they started with a new math.
Yeah.
And so I said, "Well, what are you doing with that?" And they explained. I said, "Well, you know what? When you think about it, that's how I actually think about things mentally, to calculate things
Yes.
in my head."
Yes.
So I said, "It's easy for me to explain this to them now because that's what
Yes.
the way I think." So it was a little easier. But boy, things have changed. It's more difficult. But you know what? I think the reading for the kids is one of the best things, and studies have
100%.
shown kids that read are the ones that really benefit from the education as well.
Yes.
So, I
Yes.
mean, ours are the same. I mean, we have so many books, and
I know.
you know, but that's a good thing for all these kids because I mean, that's how when he was young, he started reading Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Well, that meant I had to read all the Harry Potters because I
Yes.
needed to talk to him, right? Which I enjoyed, to be
Yeah.
honest. So, and then all these different series that they're reading, which is great.
Yeah.
So, reading anything is good.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
And I like to switch between um you know almost not so much biographies but books written by experts and things and then fiction. I like to switch it up a bit just to keep my brain moving in different directions. And I just finished reading a book about a month and a half ago now, called Quiet Leadership by Carlo Ancelotti, the famous football manager for like soccer
Okay.
manager.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And he wrote it with a couple of his colleagues. They wrote it together, and it was
Yeah.
very cool how he related managing a soccer team or football team, because he did it in 5 different
Mhm,
countries
mhm, mhm.
successfully,
Yeah.
to navigating the business world, and how management styles and management techniques could be crossed over between the two worlds. Like it's like a good manager can be a good manager in any industry if they're a good manager and a good person.
Yeah. You know, I've got all kinds of friends that keep on sending me books to read,
Yeah.
which is great. And some are from business, some are technology. These are all kinds
Yes.
of different topics. And of course, my dear wife loves biographies, so she
Yeah.
reads a ton of those.
Yeah.
And I problem is you have to find a balance between writing and reading.
It's true.
Because writing is discipline, putting the time
Yes.
aside to actually do it.
Yes.
And the problem is sometimes I get a book that I really like. I become quite obsessed with finishing the book, and I like
Yes.
long books, so I like books that are like 400 pages long, and
Yeah.
and I hate it when they end too. But yeah, I read a lot of business books too. Business books. I read a lot of sci-fi books,
Yes.
fantasy books. I just read a book on Einstein. I got friends that send me books to review. So I do a lot of reviewing of books.
Oh,
For some odd
nice.
reason, they want my opinion on stuff. So I mean, it's not that I'm an expert, but I don't know why they just seem to like it. So,
Oh, I love
one
that.
was one was a strange one. It was a book on the history of some country. And I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. And then another one, another friend of mine who actually was the publicist on my first book years ago,
Oh,
and
okay.
she's working for another company now. And it's a book, a fellow who is a sort of a well-known Japanese Canadian photographer
Yes.
who spent a lot of time working with the early days of the the black issue in the States with
Okay.
all the early leaders down with Martin Luther King and things like that.
Yes.
And he traveled a lot in the South, was threatened by all kinds of people. And, that time where they were shooting people and doing all that
Yeah.
stuff. And I thought,
Yeah.
boy, this guy has a lot of guts doing that. I mean, first of all, he's not white. He's Japanese Canadian down there
Which
too.
is,
So
yeah,
there's a certain amount of risk with that as well. And
100%.
so it's kind of an interesting book. And, there's a little bit there about the Japanese Canadians too, because at the end of his career, he started getting involved more with the history of the Japanese Canadians in the country,
Mhm.
and it was very interesting to me to read this stuff. And I thought, this guy's got a lot of guts going down there just after the war. First of all, everyone hated Japanese
Yeah.
after the war,
Yeah.
and
He
now
was
he's
tough
working
to
with
do that.
the whole,
Yeah.
idea of trying to find equality down there for the black community. I thought, I mean, that took a lot of guts to do that.
Yeah.
So
100%.
so that's one of the books. So yeah, it's kind of well, it gives me an opportunity to read about different things when people send me these books to review. So
Yes. That's wonderful. Speaking of books,
yeah,
you have one. Yeah, you have a couple,
yeah,
but we were chatting about the networking one. I did start reading it. Yes,
yep,
the ripple effect. I did start reading it.
yeah,
Obviously haven't got that far yet.
yeah.
But I
Well, I
did
just
start
gave it to you
reading it.
yesterday, so
Yeah, I know. It's kind
yeah,
of tough for me to get that far.
yeah,
um,
yeah.
but I did start reading it, and I am going to finish it because right away I was pulled in. It was good. Tell us a little bit about this book and the ripple effect and how it came to be.
Yeah, well, yeah, I lecture once a year at the School of Diversity at York University.
Yes.
And I do that because my friend Merle Jacobs, Dr. Merle Jacobs, made my first book part of the curriculum, so which
Nice.
is kind of nice. And so I'm lecturing to about a couple of hundred kids, and you look out that at the crowd, and they represent Canadian society. It's just a mix of everything. And afterwards, you always have like 12 really keen students coming down and want to ask you more questions. And they never ask me about what I'm lecturing about. They ask me basically, how did they get to where I am today?
Yes.
And if you think about it, that's started me thinking because back in the 50s and 60s after the war, there were no Asian, East Asian, South Asian, very few visible minorities in Canada. There are no leaders in politics. I think there's only two Asian lawyers in all
Yes.
of Toronto, and so we had no role models. And I started thinking about these kids today too, because you and I had to learn about social skills the hard way by doing it,
Yes. Yes.
and we didn't have electronic devices that really took all of our attention. And so there's less personal connections today. But you
Yes.
think about it. I mean, you have the greatest marks in school, and you get it for an interview. Well, when I interview people for jobs, I want to know what makes them tick as a person. What do they
Yes.
volunteer for? What are I mean, their interests? Like, I remember interviewing somebody who did marathons. I said, well, that shows dedication to something, or just simple things other than were you good at school? Are you
Yeah.
going to fit into the culture we have? And that
Yes.
requires face-to-face talking. I mean, I remember once going to back in the old days, I wasn't when I was working for big law firms, I really wasn't practicing law so much more like rainmaking, but had a
Yeah.
meeting at the Royal Military Institute, and I had a younger lawyer come with me to meet an older client.
Yeah.
And the first thing the kid did was we got to the table, he took off his jacket and put it in the back of his seat. And I said, well, Um, Does our client do that? He says, no. I said, put the jacket back on, especially where you were, right?
Yeah.
So, these are things they just don't know. And
Yes.
so you think, well, how do you figure out? I mean, look at when I started off, oh my goodness, when I graduated from law school, I couldn't get an interview. I couldn't get an interview with anybody. And I had sent hundreds of resumes out. And,
Yeah.
eventually it's big, interesting, these big law firms that wanted to hire me after I got out of the government with all my connections.
Yes.
Um, wouldn't give me an interview when I graduated. Um, and eventually I got a job with Tridel.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah, so
Yes.
my background is actually real estate development, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But you know, these days, I mean, there are all kinds of barriers still,
Yeah.
and young people need to understand you need to persevere doing these things. You
Yes.
just can't give up. You have to keep going. And that's what my first book, Gambate, that
Yes.
means never give up.
Yes.
And so I thought, well, through stories, maybe they can learn how to do some networking and get ahead. And so of the writers, so I thought, well, let's do this by through storytelling. We need people who they can identify with. So
Yes.
of the writers, the 20 writers, um, we got four East Asian, one South Asian, two Black, one Indigenous, and a whole lot of women are writers in the book.
Yes.
And these are all groups that have more difficulty networking and finding mentors.
Yes.
And so that's kind of my perspective, and it's for different industries too. So it's not, I mean, the only politicians in the book are me and Mitzi Hunter, who was a cabinet minister under Kathleen Wynne. Uh, of course, my co-editor, Mark Keeley, used to be the senior advisor for John Turner, who was prime minister.
Yes.
But we've got people from marketing, from technology, from you name it, right across the board, and everyone started with nothing and
Yeah.
made success of themselves. So that's what it was like when I was a kid. I think I mentioned this to you before. I mean,
Yeah.
we we I mean we were very modest living, like every Japanese Canadian after the war when we had nothing after we got released from the prison camps. Um, so we was very modest, and my dad was a dry cleaning presser. My mother mended clothes,
Yeah.
but I knew I didn't want to be a dry cleaning presser.
Yeah.
And so when all these other kids were reading kids' books in the school library, I read every biography in the school library by the time I was 10 because I want to know what these successful people did when they were young to become
Yes.
successful. Two
Yes.
lessons came out of that: perseverance. Secondly, you can't do it by yourself. And that's where the networking comes in. So I thought,
You need a network for sure to
yeah,
help make that happen. Yeah.
but networking is not quantity, it's quality.
Yes.
So it's about a circle of people who are, I mean, ever give you empathy when you're down. When you're down, it's easy.
Yeah.
But when you become successful doing something, you want people around you who are happy for your success
Yes.
and not being resentful or jealous or whatever it is.
Yes.
And that's your circle you have around. So you all rise together, which is really
Yes.
what you want to have around you. And it's like, you know, the first thing lesson you learn about business is it's all about culture in your organization.
Yes.
Well, it's also all about culture in your circle of network,
Gotcha.
and
Yeah.
so yeah, that's kind of what's all about. And I thought, well, amazingly, it's had a lot of interest from young organizations, young people who wanted to read about this. And I sort of like I see both groups when I see the students at York, but over at the Directors College, I'm lecturing to 25, 30 highly successful business people who want to get on corporate boards,
Yes.
and they have an interest in it as well. So I thought, well, it looks like it's got some decent appeal to it, and luckily for us, it was published in May,
Yep.
and in August it went a second printing, so it's doing fairly well for a book.
That's wonderful. Yeah, we don't want to give too much away about the book because I want people to buy it and read
Yeah,
it.
well, me too. That's good.
But I do love the concept. I think that it's it it's one of the things I think I learned from my dad, owning a coffee shop back in the day. And then me helping make coffee and speak with people. You learn how to speak to people. You pick up on conversations. You see businessmen and business people talking to each other, and women and men and everybody talking, and you learn how to be social, how to be in a social environment. You learn how to, shake a hand and discuss things without coming off as you can come out. You learn how to be confident rather than arrogant. You learn how to be empathetic. You learn how to be you learn how to listen. You learn how to have a conversation, right? So I love that you're putting some of these stories out there for people, especially young people, to pick up on. I love that.
Well, you just described how my friend Anna Paluzzi, who wrote a chapter in the book, well, how she learned from her father and their business they had up in Sudbury.
Yep.
So exactly the same story. I mean, look at my dad had, it was dry cleaning presser, and eventually he made enough money to buy the business he was working at.
Yep.
And so that became the kind of the family business. Now,
Yes.
my brother and my sister worked in the store.
Mhm.
I couldn't work for my dad. We're too close in personalities. We would have clashed, I know for sure. But my dad was the guy who was a hardworking guy, but and my mother was the counter person. And my mother knew the name of every customer who came into that store. It was at Bathurst and Fairlawn,
Okay. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she knew all the customers. They knew the wife's name, the kid's name, the birthdays, everything. She was, well, like my mother was a really smart woman,
Yes.
but and she just positive person. My mother was a saint. But if anyone ever gave my mother a hard time, my dad was kind of like the soup Nazi. He would come to the front counter, his face full of thunder, and he would scream at the customer and give him two choices: either apologize to my mother or never come back.
That's
That was my dad.
wonderful.
That was my dad. Yeah, but they had some interesting customers. I mean, Larry Grossman was a customer of
Oh
theirs.
yeah.
Stompin' Tom Connors was.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
the president of another dry cleaning chain came in because my dad did fine work with his stuff. So yeah, no, he was a hardworking guy, my dad. But he gave me a good lesson. He said to me once, "Never turn down an opportunity
Yes.
because opportunities don't come along a lot." And by and large, he was right. I mean, there's some things I
Yep.
should have turned down, but
Yes.
but he was right by and large. And I said to him once, "Well, what if I don't know enough about what is? We'll learn on the job.
Yeah.
Even
Yep.
you're smart enough, learn on the job."
Yep.
And so that was a good philosophy of his, and I kind of embraced that because he's right. Because when you have an opportunity, you have to grab it.
Yeah.
The worst thing you have is regret over not taking an opportunity.
Yes. It's
I mean,
true.
yeah, listen, I've had failures. I've had spectacular failures, and I've learned more from that than I have from successes.
Yes.
But I
It's
haven't got the
true.
regret of not trying something. I mean, and it's better than regretting not doing something.
I totally agree with that. And I love that advice that, take your opportunities that your dad gave, learn on the job. I mean, I did that a few times in my life, in my careers. And I started as a journalist at a journalism school, worked at the Ottawa Sun. First ever professional interview was Guy Lafleur of all people.
Oh yeah,
Um,
wow, that's cool.
yeah,
Wow,
yeah, it's
yeah.
totally cool. And he was promoting the Carha World Cup of Rec Hockey in Ottawa.
Oh,
And so,
yeah,
yeah, so
yeah,
it was summertime, all the pro writers were away, and they
yeah.
looked at me, and it was literally my first day. It
Oh,
was
wow,
like as
wow.
like a as a or maybe second day, sorry, second day as an intern at that time. And they're like, "Do you want to go and do this?" And I'm like, "Sure, I'm in." Right. And so went down and did that. And but over the years, as my industry has changed, everything, I learned how to do marketing writing. I learned different styles of writing. I learned how to do podcasts, radio shows here at our local in Huntsville, Hunters Bay Radio. It's like a community radio station. TV stuff I've done with the local Your TV stations, and on and on and on, and just upgrading all my skills. Social media, you have to learn all that, right? And now AI, and so I think you're right. I think learning on the job, taking any opportunities that get thrown at you, like, you know, and that's wonderful advice for anything. And yes, you should say no sometimes. I do so much volunteer work, I gotta say no sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. I've done a lot over the years, for sure. But here that's what gives you value because, someone asked me to describe myself once when I was giving a speech someplace, and I said, I'm a generalist, and I know enough about a lot of things to be dangerous and ask questions,
Yes.
uh, but it's the variety of different things you've done over the years and accumulated those skills that give you value as you get older too.
Yes.
It gives you wisdom as well because the more you know about the things, you can at least understand what's going on around you. I mean, look at, like I said, I haven't practiced law since 1994.
Yeah.
I am a lawyer by trade. I kept my license because I like having my license as a lawyer because I always thought
Yes.
you get an education, no one can take that away from me, which is by and large true.
Yes.
But I mean, I've done a lot of stuff over the years. Like, I've been an integrity commissioner. I've been, well, obviously in government.
Yeah.
I've been the co-chairman of an investment bank. Just a whole bunch of different things. I've been a regulator,
Yeah.
obviously. I've worked on the ground in different countries.
Yeah.
Uh, and so all that stuff accumulates and for some odd reason gives you value. I mean, look at I mean, it's not that I don't know something about a specific area, which I actually do,
Yes.
but that's not where my strength is. My strength is being able to look at all these different things and be the good news for me being on boards
Yeah.
is I'm at the end of my career.
Yes.
So I don't have to be diplomatic about a lot of stuff. If I don't understand something the board, I'll say, I don't, what are you talking about? I don't understand that.
Yes.
You have to explain it to me better.
Yes.
Usually when I
Yes.
say that, most people say, well, you know what? Thanks for asking that question. I had the same question, but was
Yes.
afraid to ask,
Yes.
or give you my opinion about things. And so you get the blunt truth from me. But I'm diplomatic how I say it. I don't really,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
try
you're
not
not
to insult
mean
people.
about it, but
Yeah, yeah.
you're forward about it. You're not afraid to
Yes.
be
Yeah.
forward about things.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I mean, I've told people they're being on the wrong track. But look at no matter what you do, somehow, um, it's great that people get on board with something that's enthusiastic. But there always has to be someone who is the sober second thought about something
Yes.
and ask your
That's my
questions
wife.
about it. Hmm?
That's my
Good.
wife.
Well, that's yeah. I'm afraid to comment on that one myself, but if everyone's running into the burning building, someone's got to say, you got to take a fire extinguisher in with you,
Yes.
and so as new things come aboard, technology otherwise,
Yes.
you have to think of like, that's the lawyer thinking in me as well.
Yeah.
But the problem with lawyers is I remember once being in Mongolia and I was talking to lawyers we had working for us in New York, and in Toronto
Okay.
and there's a transaction occurring, and all the principals want this transaction to happen. It's on resources, and lawyers kept on saying you can't do this for this, you can't do this for that. And so finally, I said, we're paying you guys a lot of money,
Yes.
and when you guys figure out how we can do it, not how we can't do it, you call
Yes.
me back because we've got different time zones, and we're 12 hours in Mongolia.
Yeah.
And amazingly, an hour later, they came called back with a solution. I said, well, that
Yes.
wasn't hard, was it?
No.
You know. So, but that's how lawyers think, unfortunately.
Yes.
And you have to start thinking sometimes of how you can do things. How do you find a solution that will work? Look, you never have 100% of the facts for anything you do.
It's true.
To me, leadership is making the best decision you can make based on the information you have today.
Yes.
Because sometimes the decision you don't make today and you make in 2 weeks becomes the wrong decision because you've delayed it in time.
Yes.
But you know what these days, and I have to say this, what I like about um, Doug Ford is if he makes a mistake, he admits it
Yeah.
and fixes it. And I don't know any politicians that really do that. They just sort of entrench themselves and hope people will forget about what's going on.
It's true.
And I think that's a good thing to happen. Now he gets criticized for it,
Yeah.
but I think it's a good sign of leadership, quite frankly. I mean, look at
Yeah.
I mean, we've had discussions in our cabinet over the years, and we've had some really good discussions about things, and sometimes it's been the right decision, sometimes not.
Yeah,
but that's the worst thing to do is not make a decision.
it's true. I agree. I agree. It's better to make a decision based on what you know and the best that you can possibly make. And then if it was the wrong one, okay, come back like you said with the premier. Mr. Ford will come back and say, "Hey, you know what? I made a decision based on what we knew. Wasn't the right one at the time. We're gonna fix it. We'll pivot. We'll make a better one next time because now we know, right?" So I do same
Yeah,
as you. I
yeah.
appreciate that.
But bear in mind, as you're making these decisions, whether it's corporately, whether it's in politics, bear in mind you're making this decision for the benefit of if you're in Parliament for the country.
Yes.
So that's got to be the foremost what you're thinking. If
Yes.
you're with a nonprofit organization, you're making these decisions for the benefit of the organization and the purpose which you're trying to fulfill,
Yes.
and not for some other reason.
Yep.
And then you can certainly explain it. Like I always say to people in government or organizations, you have to have a good process as you go through. Because even if you're wrong, you can say, here's the process we went through to make this decision.
Yes.
And it should never be the process and the substantive issue that's at risk.
Yes.
Sometimes you
You're
make the
right.
wrong decision, but you have to default. This is how we did this. This is how we arrived at this decision.
Yeah, no, I
It's
agree. I agree. You're right. I agree. Like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That
lessons
makes
you've
a lot of
learned
sense.
for the hard way sometimes, right? Believe me, I've never always been right. In fact, I know certainly where I'm sitting right now that I'm frequently wrong.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about frequently, but we all make mistakes. We're all wrong sometimes.
I'm not the boss here.
But
Yeah,
on that note, David, I think we've had a good time chunk on the
yeah.
recording. And I think I think we can stop it there unless there was anything else you wanted to mention.
No,
Um,
but let me just put one
yeah,
final
yeah.
picture of
Plug,
the
plug,
book,
plug it,
The
plug
Ripple
it.
Effect,
Ripple effect.
available Indigo, Amazon, and published by ECW Press.
There we go. There we go, everyone. You know what? You've heard David give us some amazing insights and some really good advice and shared some great stories. I've started reading The Ripple Effect. I'm gonna keep reading it. I'm enthralled. I'm in. I think you should be too. And even at my age, 48, I'm gonna learn something. I already can feel it. I'm gonna learn something from this book. So go out and get it. So the Honorable David Tsubouchi, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, it's great, and anytime you want to chat again, let me know.
Oh, we're gonna chat again for sure. Like as soon as
Okay,
your sci-fi book comes out, or maybe I just gonna give you a call for some advice.
no problem. You take care. Hey, thanks a million, Chris.
All right.
Take care.
Thanks,
Bye bye.
David. Have a great day. Bye. Thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate you. And don't forget to follow, subscribe, and tell your friends about what we're doing so we can keep doing what we love to do. Peace out and one love to everybody.